it to you by Crown Royal. Okay, the news today is big surprise. It's not very good. But I'm going to give you the news. I'll tell you what happened today. If I don't report on it, it's because I reported on it yesterday, the day before. I've been reporting on literally all of the news. All of it. It's right here. You can watch other people who do like 6 minutes of one thing, 6 minutes clips. Sorry, I don't have clips yet. But this is, I don't know if it's therapeutic for you, but it's definitely therapeutic for me. I'm Craig Hamilton Bradley, and this is the god-awful news. Let's drink some black coffee. God, you just want to go to sleep and not wake up for 4 years. Trouble is, would the world be indistinguishable in 4 years? Anyway, let's get on with it. So, in no particular order, it's all pretty bad. There's travel advisories all over the world telling people in their countries not to come here because we are the most inhospitable country in the world now. We're just complete assholes to everyone else in the world because our president is a complete asshole and every person he hired is a complete asshole. And every elected Republican is a complete asshole. There's one less. There was 4,073 elected state officials, and now there's 4,072 because Ruby Red, since the 1880s, was the last time Lancaster was represented by a Democrat, and they are now. And that's why Elise Stefanik, this weirdo god who just did this weird 180. Oh, gross. Anyway, of course, she, because they got to manipulate and try to control everything because they're going to lose now a lot more than they would have in the past because now I think some, even the really, the borderline, not quite super dumb, but a little bit dumb people are able to actually detect how awful Donald Trump is now that their Social Security isn't coming and there's no veterans benefits and, oh, God, and their food banks are empty. Oh, anyway, so travel advisories because our country is acting like a bunch of complete abject assholes. And everyone sees us like shit now. And I don't like that personally. I would like it if our country was known as being friendly and if other countries liked us. It's a peculiar way to go through life. But of course we have a malignant narcissist, sociopathic, pathological, lying asshole for president. And all kind of people around him. Oh my God. Anyway, so your travel advisories. If you don't know about all the travel advisories, we're talking England, Canada, any country you thought of, all European countries, they're like, hey man, I don't think you should go there, right? They might just lock you up for the sport of it, right? These evil ICE detention people. This most recent, I was so infuriated watching these 6 assholes abduct a woman, kidnap a woman off the streets at Tufts University, a PhD student. It's just so infuriating. If local people saw that going on here, they would have a hard time not stepping in and maybe making themselves go to jail for, oh God. Anyway, I speak for real Americans who are just disgusted and horrified by these repugnant Republicans. I got that from you. Anyway, and if you haven't seen it, the picture of this video is of evil KRISTI Gnome. She goes to El Salvador, to gawk at these people. She could have been our hero. She could have broken these. For the purpose of going to El Salvador, they're innocent. None of them had been adjudicated as criminals. If they want to prove that someone's done a crime and punish them because of it, that's one story. But they didn't do that. They just rounded up 260, most of which innocent people, and disappeared them into something close on the level of a Nazi concentration camp. These people will never see the light of day again if we don't get them out of there. It's a labor camp. They're not allowed to speak to each other in there. They have a no sheets, no bedding, no pillow. It's just a steel slab. And that's it. 80 people in a cell, a steel slab to sleep on. Can't talk. They're obviously restricted. Their caloric intake is restricted. They're forced into labor. It is, it already gave me nightmares. It's enough to give a normal, anybody a nightmare. Jesus, it's just so sick and twisted. And this is what the United States government is doing to people. These people who are doing the work, do they realize the work they're doing is unconstitutional? What they're doing is like being a Nazi soldier. And I mean, I think there could be an argument made for why we should arrest the people doing the kidnapping and punish them. They're following unconstitutional orders, and they're acting like it's fun. It's as if they're all from Vidor, Texas. I tell you what, oh my God. Who are these sick fucks that are going around just doing their job? And that's where, agency comes into play. You don't have to follow unconstitutional orders. Usha, the disgusting second lady, disgusting because she's going to fucking Greenland. And, that whole trip's been changed because Greenland people hate us so much, especially her and her husband and any of these assholes. They are going to be met with nothing but grief and pure hatred. So they're not going to Greenland anymore. They're going up to some military base way up high in the country that we're lucky enough to be able to have there. So that's good. That's a little bit of good news. They're not going really to Greenland because that was just going to be gross to watch. But they're still doing their aggressive everything. Aggressive language, actions, everything. It is so disheartening. And Trump just spews lies and lies. Oh, they want this. Denmark would like this. I think they know they'll be better off. Like everything he says is a disgusting, distorted lie. It's all Russian propaganda. He is a Russian asset. Everybody knows it. The only question is, was he turned into one in 1980 or 1987? JFK Jr. overseeing the spread of measles. There's measles now in close to 20 states. It was just in one state. Now it's in 20 states. There were some cases in Texas. Now there's 300 cases in Texas. And he just changed the entire organization he oversees, putting 5 organizations into one, cutting thousands and thousands of employees who all served a need. Every one of these people has a job because there was a need. And the reverse multiplier effect of all that as it works itself out. I went on Facebook. I never try to avoid Facebook. It doesn't seem to be good for anything, except for a bunch of fake birthday wishes. And I just, amongst all my friends, because there's a few millionaires, a few 5 millionaires, a few 10 millionaires, maybe even a few 50 and 100 millionaires on my Facebook friends list. And I just went out, not really on a limb, 18 hours ago, and just told them all, hey, man, I think the stock market, yesterday the stock market opened high, and then it ended underwater, and then today it was underwater. And I think yesterday's peak in the morning was as good as it's going to get for a while. And so I just told everyone I know, if you actively manage your money, it's time to review your portfolio and move, some of that into cash. Cash doesn't go down when the stock market goes down. That's just my personal opinion. But I mean, I think if anyone's kind of paying attention, if anybody else is watching the news, they could understand why I might have that opinion. But I mean, whether it's this, that, or the other thing, the spread of measles, that's not going to help our nation's productivity. And putting a dipshit in charge, Provocatively, West Virginia just banned a bunch of artificial colors, and other states are entertaining the same thing. Um, and that's actually in alignment with JFK's. That's the one thing that resonates with JFK is his desire to want to get certain harmful substances out of our food supply. That is the one thing that makes him not seem crazy to people, because that is a common held belief. But the rest of the shit he thinks is insane, and he's not doing anybody any good, especially in his role. And of course, again, it's some rich asshole going in and destroying middle class America, jobs, just thousands of people's lives, rug pulled out. I mean, it's what causes mental illness, pulling rugs out from underneath each other one way or another, whether it's with a bomb or a salary or a spouse, a parent. You know, that is the 99% of all mental illness is caused from asshole people pulling the rug out from other people. So that's going to be interesting to see unfold, because that's going to be just a long unfolding process. All these people's lives being unraveled one day at a time, all of which starting at the time they were fired and told they were fired because they weren't doing a good job when they were nothing but the best employee that ever lived. You know, gave 10, 20 years of their life to serving our country, serving our communities. Anyway, of course, Republicans are traitors who lie all the time and are corrupt thieves who break the law all the time, and they don't like honest journalism. So naturally, they're going after public broadcasting and National Public Radio, two places where you actually hear pure news all the time from real journalists doing amazing work. If you don't like those entities, it's because you're an idiot. And you see them as, oh, but all the people they like, it's funny how they like look up people's voter rolls and donations they make, and then they decide, oh, well, they're Democrats, so they're just biased against, you mean against criminals, thieves, sending heaps of aloha, sweet aloha, heaps of aloha back. Like, this shirt doesn't actually fit me all the way, but it fits me up here. I lose a little more weight, it'll fit. I got a whole bunch of shirts that might look okay on camera a little bit. Well, a few of them, if I could just lose a little weight. So we'll see. If you see new shirts that are not t-shirts, it's because I lost a little bit of weight. Anyway, it is just, and then Marjorie Taylor Greene attacking, like, the dumbest woman in the world, attacking the most brilliant people at freaking PBS and NPR radio. All that baking. Oh, man, can't bake enough these days. You can't drown yourself in food or marijuana enough. Oh, I was just thinking, yes, this news is depressing, unequivocally, arguably, objectively depressing. But that doesn't mean we gotta be depressed. I mean, it's a harder mountain to climb every day, not being depressed, even though we face depressing news. Doesn't mean we gotta let them win. You know what I mean? But damn, it's just so ugly seeing these dipshits going after public radio and public television. Oh, makes you want to punch these people in the face. Anyway, and then the way they're just needling their way into the Kennedy Center because they got to dominate the arts as well as education and government and business and churches and all those 7 pillars of Ziklag. Ziklag is the deep state. I'm dying for someone else to report on this other than Amy Goodman and public broadcasting, and ProPublica. ProPublica is going to be on the list soon too. They're going to figure out a way to go after them, right? And they've neutered the lawyers that would protect people from the harm that they're doing. That's all part of their evil, diabolical Nazification, the Nazi Manifesto, Project 2025. By the way, the list that Sunny, Tell the People with Sunny, she goes through the whole list. I've stolen it and regurgitated it on my channel here. It is the list of all the companies that donated to Project 2025. It's had almost 1.5 million views. So hopefully that is a sign of a growing movement of using your dollar to direct your Agenda 2030. That just sounds frightening. But this all started. The moral majority in the 90s was the beginning of all this evil shit, where they decided, oh, we got to take over this, that, and the other thing, and do it in this way. And right now, all the steps of their plan is so obvious, right? Going after trans people, trying to drive a wedge into a issue that's not an issue, right? Or using like Hunter Biden. Nobody cared about Hunter Biden. Clearing the voter rolls of black people, neutering the voter rolls, attacking election voter. They call it voter integrity, but it's really, of course, voter disenfranchisation. It's how to fix the election. That's on full display thanks to the god-awful executive orders signed yesterday. Council of Foreign Relations. Oh, my eyes. I can barely see anymore. Yes, I know. Love you guys. It really is. It's objectively depressing news. Which, should I really be doing a news show when the news is always bad? But it's just therapeutic. Two wings of same bird. Yeah, it's frightening. So, all right. So they stopped, if you haven't heard this wonderful piece of news, in addition to us stopping help all around the world with USAID, literally making food rot that would have gone to a starving person. A billionaire and billionaires doing that in the most evil fashion, just like KRISTI Noem going to El Salvador. So gross. Looking at those people say, yeah, I'm so tough. And her stupid hair extensions with her $65,000 watch in front of these people whose lives are taken from them completely. She could have saved those people, brought them back, made herself a freaking hero in some ways. But no, she just, she's so gross. Oh. And that is just the worst of elitism. People just using their power and privilege to just hurt people and then dance on their graves and their souls. Anyway, that's just the grossest thing ever. KRISTI Noem going down there and doing that. Holy shit. Oh, the puppy killer. Yeah, I know. Yep, George Carlin. There's a lot to agree about with George Carlin. I'm going to talk a little bit about comedy. I've become very judgmental of comedians once I started trying to do it myself. If you want to use, trying implies failure. Since I started doing it myself, I started asking the questions about the various things, kind of being a student of it, like, and there's certain things I've recognized as aspects of comedy that I think are important, like subject matter. Holy shit, I watched one comedian after another last night I sit there for 5-10 minutes just waiting for anything funny. Nothing funny comes. Once these guys make any money at all, their lives become so not funny. All they have left, they think they can turn the worst, most boring, the stuff that is nightmares in our normal lives into jokes. And I just don't get it. I don't get it. And people I like, you know, people who were funny at one point or are gonna be again, but like, uh, anyway, it's everywhere in comedy, you know, because once you start living at the end of a long gated freaking driveway, it's funny shit don't happen in your life no more. But yeah, so subject matter, right? Now, when I was a waiter, I used to know, like, the perfect example was Seattle. When I've served a million people as a waiter, much of which here on the beach in Hawaii. And when I met someone from Seattle, all I thought about was rain, right? And of course, I made the mistake a few times of bringing that subject up or whatever, because that was the only reference I had for Seattle. And then I realized, yeah, you know, I mean, that's rain it's not a good subject. It's not a happy subject. At the end of the agreement of whatever it is you're going to agree about, if it's a negative subject, it's not a good subject to bring up. People are there for dinner. They want to have a good time, right? And then I was saved because the Seattle Seahawks won the Super Bowl. And then I had the Super Bowl to talk about, and that was a positive thing. And so I found common ground with Seattle, people talking about the Super Bowl, you know, something we all enjoyed and whatnot. And so anyway, these comedians, I mean, what the fuck are they doing? I watched the first 5 minutes of Bill Burr. He opens up with something about Gaza. He starts talking about Gaza, and then and stuff about people who watch too much news and plastic. And it was like the most negative thing you could ever bring up. And that was his opening. He brings up Gaza, and then he goes into relationships. I don't want to hear about people's fucking marriages and their kids and being in their Jim Gaffigan talking about being in the minivan with his kids, and Tig Notaro talking about her 7-year-old kids, and freaking Bill Burr talking about his relationship with his wife. I mean, there are subjects out there that are funny, and your boring lives are not. Or it's a woman talking about way too personal stuff I don't want to hear about. That Liza Schlesinger lady. Oh God, that's way more information I want to know. And I guess they think this stuff's funny in their minds. I don't know, but I'm just saying. That is one of the parts of comedy where, you know, where you start, I'm just saying, like, there's funny stuff to talk about. Like, then I go watch, like, if you watch Mitch Hedberg, Norm Macdonald, like, they never talked about stupid shit like that. They were funny all the time because they talked about subject matter that was funny. You know, Ralphie May, funny subject matter, you know. It helps when you start with something funny and then try to turn it into something funny. I'm just saying. I mean, I'm no expert. Obviously, I've never been paid to do comedy. Who am I in the scheme of things? But it pains me every time I turn on what should be funny. It's just one of those Republican assholes who's doing misogynistic jokes or racist jokes or bigoted jokes or, oh, that's all gross. All of Joe Rogan's friends suck. I mean, there's no such thing as conservative comedy. Anyway, but all these people are making so much money. That's what amazes me. Anyway, yeah, it's hard for me to watch all the people getting paid to do comedy. But anyway, it's all good. It's all good. I know a lot of comedy isn't that funny. Or they're yelling, yelling at the audience the whole time, screaming at them. Bill Burr a little bit, little guy, all of them. Chris Rock and anyway, and so yeah. But John Mulaney, now that guy can tell a funny story. But I think he's now suffered from that too. Anyway, I know a lot of people love all these people. They just think they will walk on water, but it's like, oh my God, they're getting paid so much to talk about their fucking marriages. Oh, and the trailer for the big belly guy with the beard. I waited on his freaking sister here. The one time I forgot someone's order was, anyway, he starts talking about having sex with his 53-year-old wife and then pukes in his mouth, and that's the trailer, and it's like, oh God, I don't want to watch that. Anyway, all right, sorry, okay. So yeah, back to it. The Republicans stopped 20 food trucks from getting to Cleveland because, poor people starving are people you want to take food away from. Elon Musk and all the billionaire assholes. And how bribed are all of the Republicans? Like, you can just see it. It oozes out of everything that they say. And I think a lot of their constituents are starting to smell that because as they're getting questioned for destroying people's lives, all they do is act like, it's these Democrats getting paid to be here, and we wouldn't want Canada to become our country because it'd become like California and be another Democrat state, or, just the most insolent, or they're not showing up, right? So, everything, they might as well just say every word out of every Republican's mouth. Of course, I'm sure Democrats are getting a few bribes too, but every Republican is just bought and paid for. Everything they say, all this fake trans shit, the voter integrity fake shit, not admitting that Donald Trump lost. They're just, it's one lie after another, and it's becoming obvious, right? And but they just kill every time they open their mouth and they say stuff like they're doing good. They're happy about what's going on with what the guy they're trying. You watch Fox and it's just a joke. They support all this treason. It's totally bought and paid for, all of them. But it's obvious every time they open their mouth now when they're being questioned about, hey, my Social Security just got cut off, my veterans benefits, my wife just got fired, the school just fired my school teacher, and they're like, yeah, like they're just so insolent and above it all because they're so heavily bribed and their pockets are so heavily lined, they just don't give a shit. And I think they're getting smelled out. That's why at least Stefanik is going to go. She was going to be the ambassador to the United Nations, and now she's going to go back to her district. And they're acting like that's some sort of big step down. I can't imagine being in the House of Representatives and thinking that some other job is a step up from that. You have the opportunity to vote on very important things that affect people's lives in a very important manner. Like, the ambassador job to me would be just a fluff job compared to actually passing laws. Anyway, all right. Hegseth and Walls. Walls is just an idiot who was obviously just bribed and then bribed some more, and now he's just lying and everyone can see it. And Hegseth, I love it because he literally does look down. I look back at it, and although it's a joke for me, he does do it. He looks around because he's looking for an answer. He can't tell between his ass and a hole in the ground. Hey, what about the text change? Did you text out war plans? And then he looks around and he can't tell his ass from a hole in the ground. Then it comes up and goes, that didn't happen. And everyone knows that's a lie. Like watching a liar lie knowingly. Although that's what we do every time we watch any Republican say any words. But it's just so obvious, right? In this one case, even stupid Republicans knew he was lying. And but he looks around. He's just like all Republicans when they get off the plane here in Hawaii. They're like, is that my ass? Is that a hole in the ground? I can't tell the difference. And oh God, yeah. Anyway, they caught a Tesla suspect in Vegas in the most haunting fashion, and they're trying to make you think it's good. Right now, they're bragging about the flock surveillance system, which is the most haunting, disgusting mass surveillance program in our country that has spread to over on its way to 10,000 cities, where Peter Thiel, or where surveillance cameras and artificial intelligence tracks every movement you make through your town. They have a dossier on everywhere you go, when you go there. They can make determinations about why you go there. It is 1984, baby. It is gross. We don't have it here yet, but it's in San Rafael, California, where I was born and raised. Where, if you didn't know it, the term 420 was invented there. Can't believe that's Hitler's birthday. Oh, God. And some people say that's when these traitors plan on bringing out martial law, for us to celebrate America with martial law, troops in the streets, boot thugs, doing unconstitutional work. Why wouldn't you quit your job if you were asked to do unconstitutional work? Anyway, where the hell am I? It is also okay. So the Tesla suspect, and of course they're going to bring him up on terror, domestic terrorism charge. Meanwhile, they let out 1,600 domestic terrorists, insurrectionists, violent cop killers. Right? Violent cop killers are far less dangerous than somebody that set something on fire, set a car on fire, right? And so this guy's gonna get God knows how much time in jail. Pam Bondi just puts her stupidity on display so often. Oh, and performatively, she said, we just caught a MS-13 top lieutenant, 24-year-old. He's 24 years old. I don't know, Yeah, seriously. And it's not worth it. Like, that's one of the reasons I know I would be a better politician than some, because I'd rather be homeless with a clean conscience than rich with blood on my hands. I love sleeping at night, and I'd sleep better in the back of my car in a parking lot with a clean conscience than after having caused the death of millions. These people, they're going to kill, just through USAID, they're killing almost 3 million people a year. They're spreading. Oh, that was the thing I missed yesterday. 2,000 cases of AIDS are now going to occur a day on Earth because of the evil this administration is perpetrating. 2,000 new AIDS cases a day. That's just one little detail. Yeah, the military-industrial complex. Talk about frightening shits when we create military in industrial size and strength. And of course, they've had their finger on the scale and been sucking money out. That's one of the, Another reason I'd like to be president, because I'd actually like to look over the accounting. Like, as somebody who's just trying to avoid money going into Republicans' bank accounts, offshore bank accounts. But would I like to get a look at those? There's one intervention I would do if I was president. It would be to go to the Cayman Islands and say, all right, let's see, we need to see your books and reclaim, whether it's Oprah Winfrey's money that's hiding there, or all these Republicans, or anybody. All these people who've just heisted millions and billions from God knows where and put it in the Cayman Islands, or I think there's an island in Ireland and one in the Mediterranean where you can just, and the Swiss bank accounts as well, where you can just hide billions that you stole from wherever, and they could be just siphoning money right out of our treasury there right now, the Social Security program, right? Because they're going to say, oh, now that we're saving America so much money by firing all these people, You know, I mean, just like you would imagine a child. Well, since I saved you that money, I deserve to have it. So they're just stealing it, probably, right? Yeah, Amy Schumer's funny. I agree. You know, when she's being herself. Seems like sometimes she tries too hard. But when she's just herself, she's just like a normally fun, which is the kind of person who's supposed to be a comedian. Somebody who actually, like, when you're talking to them, they tell jokes and try to make you laugh, you know? Like, I've watched hours of Joe Rogan interviewing people, and I just don't see a thread of humor. I mean, he thinks he's clever, like a lot. This is what makes me kind of grossed out by comedians, is these guys. I'm just clever now. I'll write some stuff in a closet, in a silo. I'm clever enough to write jokes, and then I can get on stage and tell those jokes, and it's gonna make me a comedian. But yet in real life, they're not funny people. So it just doesn't seem to fit in many cases, right? And when you see them on podcasts, if you watch someone who's a comedian on a podcast, and they don't make you laugh, and they're not making the people around them laugh just naturally because that's who they are, then they shouldn't have become a comedian. But I mean, look, it's not a very hard space. A lot of people that suck at it make a ton of money. So it's fascinating. It fascinates me. If they can do it, I can do it. Anyone can. Anyone can. And that's my point. And that's why I want to have a comedy club someday to just say, hey, man, you should try it. You try it. You try it. You know? Anyway. Here's some future news. Just like Luigi Mangione, Chuck Mangione's relative, both of them with lovely hair. You just wait, this guy, this Tesla suspect that was discovered by flock surveillance. Of course, they're saying, oh, he's part of the Communist Party. Which is, you have a right. This is America. It's a free country. At least it should be, supposed to be. We'd like to think of it as one, although it doesn't seem like it right now. When you turn on the news, it looks like there's secret police going around abducting people, which they are, and it's gross. It's just haunting. It's making people just sick to their stomach, pissed off, like, and just imagine, I mean, yeah. Many people are less civilized than me, who are being hurt a whole lot more than me. I'm not really being hurt yet. I mean, eventually they'll come around and lock me up for just speaking my mind. Yeah, the only night I can do it is the one night I have class. So, and I tried to go, I went last week, it was spring break, and they had technical difficulties. Their speakers wouldn't work, so they just canceled it. I drove an hour over there. I wrote a set of jokes that I thought would fit the audience. It's supposedly the one gay bar. And I had all my jokes about, nuts, balls, penises, things like that. I thought that would play out well to a gay audience. There were no heterosexual jokes in there. And I've got just enough jokes about nuts, like pulling my white nuts out and showing them to people. Sometimes I just like pull my nuts out and show them to people, and then I pull these out, you know. A nuts joke, right? These nuts, these glazed nuts. Anyway, you get the point. But yeah, so I just walked around. There's a few restaurants there in Kihei. These nuts, it's just... Speaking of subject matter, right? You can't. It's hard to write a joke or say something about farting that isn't funny. It's hard to say something about Gaza that is funny, right? For example, two very different things. In fact, if you've never seen it, there's this guy. The strongest man on earth is this guy, this beast of a man, American guy. I can't think of his name off the top of my head right now. But he's also naturally funny as well. And he makes all these comedy videos, but because he has to eat 10,000 calories a day, literally, like more food than you could ever imagine every single day. He's He's deadlifted. He's picked up off the ground more than a half ton, more than 1,000 pounds. That's how strong this guy is. And in all his videos, he farts all the time. It's the first time, the only time I've ever seen, because I always thought, like, how come I never seen a comedian just, fart on stage? But this guy, God, I can't think of his name, but he's the guy that wins all the strongest man competitions. But he farts all the time in all his videos. He just stops and goes, because he's eating 10,000 calories a day. He's the strongest man alive. Anyway, it's funny, I think. But it's also, I can't believe it's the first guy I've ever seen in, cartoons do it every day. Anyway, these executive orders that Trump just signed, oh God, they're awful. And one of them is just a full attack on women's voting rights and it's Ziklag in front of us, right? It's the the white nationalists, the Christian nationalists that are really, I call them Luciferian, evangelical Luciferians, because they are worshiping the devil. And my God, it's just gross. So here's the big mistake. I think they made a big mistake. They announced how they're going to fix the elections 2 years out for 26 and 4 years out, which means women have 2 years to go change their name back to what's on their birth certificate. Can't take your husband's name no more, ladies. And I have 2 or 4 years to go get a passport, if that's what it's going to require for me to get the ability to vote, right? And so, and I think that what's going to come out of this horrible stuff that we're witnessing every day will be people determined to do whatever it takes to make it so they can vote. It's going to be their life's mission to figure it out. And they're going to put up barriers and hoops to jump through, and they're going to try to clean voter rolls. I don't know why we didn't didn't do recounts. I would have liked to seen some recounts after all the bullshit the Republicans' lies put us through. This time, they actually fixed the fucking elections, and then Democrats didn't ask for recounts. Doesn't make it the Democrats' fault, all the shit the Republicans are doing. Oh, gee whiz. Go Canada. We love you guys, man. I'm so sorry we have a dangerous criminal for a president, and who hired a bunch of other dangerous criminals, just entitled billionaires. It's okay to be a billionaire. Doesn't have to make you an asshole that wants to take away from every. And the weird thing is like this: if I'm putting myself in a position of a billionaire, wouldn't you want the world around you to look beautiful and for people to be happy? Why would you want to be? So what if you got a compound where you get all the shit you could ever want, and you're removed from the world? But when you leave your compound, right? Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg. When you go out onto the island of Kauai from your compound, don't you want to see people who are healthy and happy and a beautiful society and a great world around you? Why would you want to rip it apart and make it dangerous and where there's just mass suffering that you participate in bringing? I just don't get what would motivate you, and why you wouldn't want, if you have power and control of any kind, to make the world a better place. Wouldn't that be the natural thing you would naturally do? Let's make the world a better place. Yeah. These Christians that prey on children, or religious people, Muslims, Jews, all the hardcore religious people prey on children. Mormons, you name it, Scientologists, and then they say, that if you do this other one thing, you'll still go to heaven, no matter who you hurt. That's not how religion works in my mind. If you're a murderer, a rapist, you are if there is a hell, you're going there. Come on. There's no hell that's going to be, kept from you if that's your soul. But look, this is all probably superstition anyway. We'll find out soon enough if we'll have consciousness wherever, But man, what that alien said is so profound about how there's no such thing. Death is a construct of the human mind, and there's really no such thing. We just move in, and we always have been, we always will be, whatever. Anyway, pardon me. That's just a little bit of cannabis. All right. So yeah, and then other executive orders targeting a really great guy, an attorney, other attorneys, because they're so weak and meek and just spineless. They have to try to go after anybody that would hold them accountable. Like firing all the inspector generals. I mean, it's so transparent. Their corruption is so obvious. Of course, there's nothing anyone can do about it, right? We all just have to stand here and watch. Man, what if Republicans pull out their pitchforks? I mean, their AR-15s. And how long will it be before Republicans go after Republicans' guns? Because they realize, oh, we armed all these people and then we turned them against us. You know, what if, right? Oh, God. Tulsi, sure, she maintains the right to her rights to say and think whatever she wants, even if it's in support of Russia. That was just the most chilling testimony ever from this, I thought she was the only politician I've ever sent money to was her. It was only $7, but it was symbolic. I believed in her. I can't believe I was fooled. How could anyone go from one to the other? I just can't imagine thinking that you want clean air and clean water and kids not to be shot in school and women to be treated equally and fairly and to have health care. And then to just say, and then to just change and then decide, oh, you know what? Fuck women's rights. Screw the environment, right? I mean, how does anybody make that fall from grace? But I think it's because they were that way to begin with, right? They sneak into the Democratic Party, really Republican operatives. I wish more Democrats. I've thought about trying to do that. Like, what if I tried to be a Republican, the one Republican that gives a shit about gun safety, the one Republican that wants to fight for women's rights, fight for protecting us from a polluted environment. Like, what if there was a Republican that wasn't horrible? What if there was one that was common sense oriented? You know, it'd be interesting. Oh God, Peter Thiel is so gross. Democracy Now! Is just playing muted, and that guy, holy crap. Anyway, yeah, she is just a bad liar. Columbia University capitulates. So of course they're going after education, higher education, right? Got to neuter that. If you're going to rewrite history, if you're going to lie about the truth, you got to attack intellectualism, right? Smart people are a threat. Critical thinking is a threat to an authoritarian regime, a dictator who's running a theocracy, right? Even though he believes in nothing. People who think they believe in something think he should be their leader. And it is just amazing. Anyway, thank you for watching, everybody, by the way. I know this isn't as digestible as the 5-minute clips that everybody else is doing, but I watch all those 5-minute clips, and I bring it all together here with all the news. And since we have a piece of shit for a president, it's going to be bad. And tomorrow it's going to be worse. And that's kind of funny, but not really. But it's the truth. And I'm just going to keep reporting it. And it's now my homework. I'm going to get an A in my class because I'm doing more work than anybody. This fits the criteria for my final. I got to do some kind of present some sort of media somehow. And so, yeah, this fits. This is episode number 24. I've done 24 of these things, which means I got to watch a lot of news just to do it. And then I got to get up the gumption to do it, which isn't easy, right? Like when the news is this shitty, I mean, metaphorically speaking, okay, I would never consider these things, but it's like you want to put a bullet in your head before, when you're, oh, should I put a bullet in my head or read the news? It's so bad. Of course, I'm not. All right, because remember, this may be depressing, but you and I don't have to be depressed. Pardon me. Go Canada. God damn, it's just so sick. And yeah, it's just a days before we start doing military things inside of Mexico, which will be war. That's how they'll see it, against Mexico. Right, and then Panama's coming up, and the Gulf of America. Give me a break. No one's ever going to call it the Gulf of America. No patriot, especially, because a traitor put it there. Right? It's unbelievable, and how he's trying to rewrite history. And now he's the worst president in American history now. Twice the only worst president in American history than one we have right now was the same president the last time he was president. In Michigan, they polled all these. They did interviews with just large numbers of Trump's voters, and none of them, like literally zero, are like ever gonna vote for him again. And these dipshits are like, well, I voted for him because he said it's gonna lower prices. Like, really, that's all someone's got to say? I'm just gonna lower prices because I'm magical. Oh my God, Biden created miracles, bringing inflation down from 10% to 3, 2, unemployment from 10 down to 3. I mean, unbelievable. Carter wished he could have done that, right? Holy shit. I didn't know Carter created a whole bunch of jobs. Democrats always create all the jobs. Anyway. What else? Alito and Thomas. Oh, God, they're so bad. The Supreme Court is so bad. How bad are they? They're so bad. These two, the most corrupt. I mean, can you imagine how corrupt you got to be to want ghost guns on the streets of America with no serial numbers? Right? Like, literally, they couldn't even... I mean, Gorsuch and Kavanaugh and the handmaid, the drunk rapist, the handmaid, and the slimy corrupt bastard who's taken all kind of bribes, of course, right? He sold his property as a bribe right after he became a Supreme Court justice. He had this big property, couldn't sell it. Right after he became a Supreme Court justice, oh, it's sold really well to a bunch of sick bastards that are supporting all. Oh, it was a lawyer who's got 22 cases against the Supreme Court. The lawyer that's got 22 cases against the Supreme Court bought Gorsuch's property, paid him handsomely for it, the one he couldn't sell in Colorado. Anyway, but even those corrupt, the handmaid who makes all of her decisions based on what her husband tells her, the rapist Jeff Kavanaugh, and they wouldn't sign on to that corrupt level that Thomas and Alito are just so awful, and they're going to retire soon, and that's going to suck because they're going to put Eileen Cannon, just the dumbest person. How did she get through law school? How did she pass the bar? I mean, that bar's got to be so low. I might want to get into law school just to see how easy it must be now. I mean, oh, God. And Ron DeSantis, I mean, I just hope Ron DeSantis' kids, and I don't normally hope this for any reason other than the fact that, he hates gay people, right? Don't say gay. That's right. I hope all 3 of his kids come out of the closet someday. Hey, Dad. Meet my, same-sex spouse. Because, I mean, if you want to really increase the odds of you having the kind of child you would be afraid of having, a Republican with a gay child, just be afraid of having a gay child. You're almost guaranteed. I mean, I really expect at least one of his kids to someday, that'll be the story, how one of Ron DeSantis' kids is gay and how he had to make the choice. Am I going to love this kid still or not? I mean, there's 3 of them, so like a 1 in 3 chance. I think it's pretty good odds. Increased by the fact that he's afraid of it, right? Whatever you fear in life is, you're more likely to bring into your life. Cheers. Go Canada. Oh, if you're gonna drink whiskey, I recommend Canadian whiskey. All right. So yeah, those bastards just, it's gross. Anyway, but it was defeated, thank God. The 3 sane Supreme Court justices and 3 shitty ones got together to defeat oh God, and Justice Roberts too, so all 7 of them. Yeah, but Alito and Thomas, oh, boy, do they just reek of they're so corrupt. They've taken so many trips and so much money from guys like Harlan Crow. I collect football cards and baseball cards and basketball cards because I like football, baseball, and basketball. Harlan Crow collects Hitler memorabilia because he likes Hitler. The billionaire who pays for all their shit. Or one of them. One of the many. I just don't get it. Anyway. Again, Ziklag, Deep State. How about Cenk Uygur fires Francesca, I forget her last name, the Bituation Room lady. She's been fired by TYT. That's some YouTube news. That's interesting. Cenk Uygur annoys the shit out of me because he's the guy who is so typical of so many people, but he's worse than all of them. And that's the people who say, that's what I've been talking about. I told you that was going to happen. And I'm going to try not to be that guy, all right? Even though I'm going to get a lot of shit right. I'm going to try not to just dwell on how much smarter I am than everybody else because I'm always right. I told you that was going to happen. Like, it's just so gross. And now he capitulates with fucking Republicans. And he fires Francesca, that she is a smart cookie. That Bituation Room lady. She is smart and she don't take no shit. And I love it. And her opinions are her opinions. And she ain't going to change it for anybody. And I respect that. That's interesting. And I didn't realize this guy that's super popular, Hassan Piker, is his nephew. Interesting, right? I need to get on Twitch with the video game I play and see if I can tap into some of that weird Twitch video game, because he crosses all these platforms, Anyway, I don't watch that guy. I don't ever see any reason to watch him, or Cenk. But there's some guys, though, at TYT that are so likable, and I just feel sorry for them having to work for Cenk Uygur. I mean, Mr. Weirdly wrong kind of energy for what he's trying to do guy. Anyway, will Florida turn blue? We got two congressional districts. Oh my God, would it be so sweet? Just like Stephanic, whatever her name is, she gonna run back to her district to try to protect it because everyone hates Republicans. As much as they hate Elon Musk, they're starting to hate Republicans too. Thank God. This is what we need. We need to eliminate the Republican Party. Oh, I was thinking, the second party, we'll eliminate the Republican Party, and the second party we'll call the Canadian Party, because Canadians have the values that Americans aspire to. We wish we had the values of Canadians, and we want to get them back. So we're going to have the Canadian Party and the Democratic Party, okay? And that'll just stand for everything that Canadians are, which are funny people with a good sense of humor. and whose heads are generally screwed on pretty straight. I'm just saying. I have served and spoken to 1 million people. There is not a politician, very few people on earth who've had as many conversations with many people as I have, working in the public sector, serving, 100 people a night, every night, for 35 years. Anyway, so yeah, I've talked to people, and I'll tell you what they say, and how they think, and what, anyway. Blue collar work, baby. I love that because it's really not, like construction work, right? That's blue collar. That's some hard work. Like the hardest day as a busboy waiter is, or the easiest day as a construction worker is harder than the hardest day as a waiter. So, but I'm just glad to be able to identify as a blue collar worker because it makes me feel, like I'm genuine in some weird way. Anyway, is this the alcohol talking? You've seen me taking a couple drinks. Getting a little loose. All right, so 2 congressional districts. Let's pray. This corrupt, bribed asshole in the Pensacola area, Walls. God, if he loses, it'd be so great. And we could turn 2 seats. That'd be great. And then there's another one in the tally, the Matt Gaetz, the child rapist, raping teenage girls who haven't graduated high school, paying them for their services, turning them into prostitutes, giving them drugs, taking tons of drugs, showing the pictures of these underage girls to all the people in Congress, right? Just not having a clue as to, and so even Republicans really don't like him, right? Like Kevin McCarthy famously hates him. Kevin McCarthy, the douchebag of the shittiest city in America. The guy representing Bakersfield, the biggest dipshit from the worst place, was the Speaker of the House. That's the best part. Like, how about that for representation? You're the biggest asshole from the shittiest fucking place in our country, Bakersfield. And people from Bakersfield will agree with me. It sucks. It's polluted, crime. It's sad, and all the people that work there aren't going to work right now because they're all migrant workers. They're afraid of the Nazi police that are going to come scoop them up, destroy their lives. How many people are just either escaping to Canada, escaping to Mexico, instead of going to work, asking their friends, like, shit, if I was set up in a house the way I'd like to someday be, and I had any friend that needed me to protect them and hide them from ICE or any of these sick law enforcement agencies that are working, DEAs working with ICE, working with local law enforcement, all the racist people you can get together that want to work on this, they're just picking up the hardest working, best people in our country. Like, the only good Catholics are the Mexicans. They are so family oriented. They're at the park on Sundays with their family, cooking out, and only on Sunday because they're working 80 hours the rest of the week. And their wives are doing the work that, Republicans want wives to do. Mexican men will work 100 hours a week if they can put their wife at home not working, taking care of their kids. If you don't know Mexicans, that's what kind of people they are. They are the hardest working, best family people you could ever imagine. And, they're so far less inclined to do crime and harm, while we have all these evil Republicans who, that's all they want to do. They want to threaten, and a libtard, a Democrat. They want to threaten us, threaten me. These meek, weak little men want to threaten me. Russ Vought, if you haven't seen it, he publicly stated he wants everyone to be afraid, right? Fear us Republicans, fear our threats, fear going to work, fear being a politician, fear being a bureaucrat, fear being on your school board, right? That's about the most un-American shit any real American's ever heard. And I ain't afraid of you, Russ Vought, or any of your fucking people that would carry out your wishes. Holy shit, talk about the meekest, weakest piece. Oh, there he is right there. That's it right there. President of the Center of Renewing America, destroying America. That's what makes me sick. Center for Renewing America. Center for Nazi Beliefs. That's what it is. The sick little meek, weak man who will never have a full head of hair. Russ Vaught. That's what none of these... How come so many of these meek, weak Republicans... Looks like they're all just trying to overcompensate for the fact that they are bald, ugly men. Sorry, no offense to the bald man. Being bald can be very handsome. I will shave my head soon and show that to you. Just kidding, joking. Anyway, oh God, he's gross. Oh, this is now John Oliver talking about Russ Vaught, the big pussy. Sorry for using that word. I know it's a misogynist word, but it's what he is. Norm Eisen. Norm Eisen. My hero. Like, he's out there. He's been called out by our weak, meek, insignificant, shit-ass president. Norm Eisen does work for the State Democracy Defenders Fund. If I was a billionaire, I'd be donating some money to that. He's like, oh, these guys, they call me out. That just empowers me to want to fight them harder. Makes me so proud to be an American when I see guys like this fighting for all of us. There's just a handful of guys that are like, I ain't backing down for nothing. And I won't be surprised to see these people ultimately put in jail by this Nazi regime that has taken over all three branches of government. And that's when I'll have to make some tough decisions. Do I act brave? Because it would be an act. I mean, I don't want to be sent to El Salvador or pushed out of an airplane like they did in Argentina, or just, turned into coal like they did in Nazi Germany. I mean, Jesus Christ. It's so sad what's going on. Anyway, Norm Eisen, one of my heroes, just like Jasmine Crockett and Katie Porter, Anyway, there's so many. They are brave. The Koch brothers, of course, they suck, and they're evil. And but what? If you haven't seen my video, if you go to Washington D.C., the Koch brothers of all people, right? So if you don't know it, the sick, fake Christian, Russian propagandists, anti-nationalists, the people who've taken over Washington. Of course, they're afraid of science. And a big part of being afraid of science is being afraid of evolution. You drive through the state of Utah, you'll see billboards that say, we're afraid of evolution. Don't believe in evolution. Believe in God. Like, why do you have to be stupid to believe in God? Why can't you believe in evolution and God? I don't know. Anyway, so the Smithsonian Institution has a whole wing of it dedicated to evolution. Dinosaur evolution, human evolution, right? Everything that psycho Republican dipshit Christians who just, you got to be so stupid to be both a Christian and an anti-science person, but they exist. And the Smithsonian has a whole the whole wing of evolution, sponsored by the Koch brothers. That's so weird, so funny. Meanwhile, by the way, those are the people that are going to rape our public lands. They've been working at it for decades, and now they got a green light. They're going to rape the forests and mine everything and drill for oil and kill ecosystems and destroy those fertile hunting grounds that you gun owners that voted for Trump might have liked in the past. You might have liked to be able to go hunting and just shoot some animals in a pristine environment. Oh, but you voted for Trump. So that's environment's getting raped. And that's just one of the many tragedies in the world's most depressing news cycle. I'm Walter Cronkite, and this is the worst news of all time every day for the next 1,390 days. Something to that effect. Oh, we just cut the vaccine alliance. We had this vaccine alliance around the world helping with vaccines, our other countries. We just decided to end that. So disease is going to spread because we were helping stop disease from spreading all around the world. We put a clamp on all of it, right? Put a clamp on Ebola. We put a clamp on AIDS, all of it, measles, polio, rubella, everything. We have been so helpful around the world, which is why one of the reasons people in the past have thought highly of America and Americans, because we weren't horrible people. But now we've become horrible people on the national stage thanks to the disgusting people that are now in control of all three branches of government. We need to eliminate the Republican Party. That is clear. I don't know why no one else is saying this. Oh, and KRISTI Noem is so gross. She's on TV. Oh, and all that Botox in her face. Her face is so puffy, and that fake hair. I've never been able to see hair extensions until she wear. What is that? Horse hair? She is the most disgusting person. She wears the same amount of eye makeup as J.D. Vance, and what a fucking weirdo he is. The ladies that I've had it pointed out, he not only has fucking eyeliner on, but he had a little cat eye down here. He had a little corner. I mean, I'll try not to use slurs that affect marginalized communities. But you can only imagine what an old timer, what kind of slurs I might think about using for a man like that. Skinny jean wearing, eye makeup wearing. Is it just eyeliner or is there mascara there too? And who does J.D. Vance's makeup? Is it his wife? Does he have a makeup artist? Does he do that shit himself? Did Peter Thiel teach him how to do it? Did he start wearing it after Peter Thiel and he had a naked relationship together? What's going on there? And, oh, God, what an embarrassment. Our country, our president, the vice president, the 53 pieces of shit Republicans in the Senate, the 6 corrupt Supreme Court justices, the 218 piece of shit House of Representative Republicans are such an embarrassment for our country and for the world, and they're so dangerous and they're so awful. And they're killing so many people around the world. Murder, starving people to death. Just a gross way to murder people. Oh, anyway. Oh, how about the Law Student Association at UC Davis? They're against genocide, just like anybody with a heart or a soul. Nobody wants to see Ukraine wiped off the face of the earth. Palestinians wiped off the face of the earth. Genocide, ethnic cleansing, it's going on. And if you happen to say that's what's happening, you're somehow pro-terrorist. Because that's just an excuse by the Republican Nazis to sweep you up and do you harm, like this sweet lady from Tufts University, Mahmoud Khalil, sent to Louisiana detention centers. A for-profit prison center in Louisiana, making those politicians in Louisiana rich off of the suffering of people that are guilty of wanting to go to school and study to get a bachelor's, a master's, a PhD. And in our country, it is okay to protest. And now that it isn't suddenly, well, everyday Americans are frightened, right? If you're going to go to if you are in any way fearful of being detained, you need to have your phone in a Faraday cage. I'm pretty sure they're using Peter Thiel's Pegasus evil tracking software to find you through your phone. They know where you are because they're in your phone, right? So that's just one thing. In addition to, stake out your front door, don't go outside, don't answer the door. And how's this? They're going after anyone that wants to inform someone of their rights. As Americans, we need to know our rights because police will violate them. ICE will violate them. Republicans will violate them every chance they get. So we need to be aware, and it's somehow against the law. Should be illegal to know our rights or to teach people. right? Tom Homan, this disgusting, just horrible, gross human being, going, oh, these people in Chicago are well informed. They know their rights. That should be against the law to teach that. Like, what the are you talking about? Anyway, all right, so that's all the news. Time is it? Fucking 74 minutes. This takes too long. I wish this news cycle would slow down. It's killing me. It's killing you. It's killing our country. And I'm not even the one being harmed yet. You all might have Social Security you care about, or veterans benefits, or food bank. Well, I mean, my food supply is going to get cut off, one of them. So that's, but I won't, I mean, I'm all right for a while. And so anyway, my heart goes out to you if Republicans are directly harming you right now, which is so many Americans are on Medicaid, Medicare, are in Social Security, are getting help from a food bank, are getting their children are getting food at lunch. Yeah, I know, it's so everyone's like You see these interviews of these people at these protests, and they're just they're saying the same shit I'm thinking. I'm frightened. This is scary. What's going on? You know, but also in there, I mean, there are hundreds of thousands of veterans getting the rug pulled out from them. There are people with skill sets in the FBI and the CIA that are getting fired. Oh, I love you. Thanks for being at those protests. If there was one for me to go to, I would. Yeah, like, how long is it going to be before we see some crazy-ass shit, you know? Oh, cool. Right on. Yeah, but those red towns, I mean, a lot of these voters are directly impacted negatively by their votes. So I just wonder how much longer these reddish places are going to be red when all these old people who were dumb enough to believe Donald Trump and watch Fox News are like, oh, my Social Security stopped coming. Or I got to go down to try to reclaim it in this long line in person, and now I'm in a walker or a wheelchair. I mean, oh, God. And that is happening. And we're just beginning to hear the stories. I mean, it's only been 2 months, so just wait until all this stuff gets unpacked. And then the numbers start coming in Wall Street, and the stock market drops another 5,000, 10,000 points. But maybe this is all the goal, right? 1984, subjugate us, ruin everyone's life, make us dependent, destroy the news. They've already, like, anybody who's saying that's fake news is just yeah, you're a believer in the propaganda. Anyway, all right. I'm devolving here. Love you guys so much. Thanks for watching the god-awful news, because if it sucks today, tomorrow is going to be worse, because we have criminal traitors, insurrectionists running our country, Nazis. It is brutal for all of us. But what can we do? But remember, the news might need to be depressing, but that doesn't mean we have to become depressed too. Don't do harm. Self-care. I got this, my professor keeps telling me, my young co-students to take care of themselves. And I think that's a pretty good message. Self-care, people. Don't forget to do self-care. Take care of yourself. Eat right, exercise, you know, brush your teeth, floss, you know, do all the things Pete Hegseth doesn't do. Anyway, all right. Yeah. Stay frosty. That one guy says from Occupied Democrats. I do like that sign off. Also like that one guy from Gas Station Adventures when he says, she gone. Anyway, that's good too. Oh, God. Anyway, we could do so much better. And let's just hope that we will someday, that we'll all live to see that. You know? Maybe it doesn't have to end in nuclear catastrophe. Which it looks like we might be headed towards with these fucking corrupt assholes in charge. Anyway, all right, you know this is all what's going on. The big question is, are we going to have military parades or martial law first? Which would be first? Because we're probably going to have both. We just don't know when. And I think if they were smart, they would wait for martial law until right before the next election, because that's how you just subjugate it and avoid it. But I think they're going to try. There's conjecture it's going to come on Hitler's birthday, which is also the day to, celebrate Brownie Mary Rathbone. Thanks for that. Anyway, all right. See, this is the part where my ego is going on and on for too long. Love you guys. Wow, 8 people. That's a lot for me. That's a lot. I got a huge audience. It's growing, and my subscribers are shrinking, but I don't care because this is therapy. And if the end of the world's coming, why should I care about whether or not I'm growing my audience? Although I would like to, because this is the resistance. We are all part of the resistance. This is me using my voice to fight back. I don't know what else I can do right now. If there was a Republican I could punch in the face to stop all this, I would, or metaphorically speaking, of course. And or if I could get into politics and take a Republican seat away, that would make me so happy. Anyway, all right. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Do no harm, do no crime. Oh, look at that view. Do no harm, do no crime. Thanks for watching All Good Things and All Good Time. Love you guys. Aloha.